Three.
Let's go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the K&S MMA show. We got Kanye Willis in the house, and of course Shane Blackledge. Well, let's get right into UFC 261. What an incredible fight card it was.
From start to bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's get right in. We're going to jump right into the main card. Let's talk about Anthony Smith versus Jimmy Crute. That fight was a really good fight, but it ended with a horrible leg injury. Anthony Smith just timed a perfect leg kick right below the knee, and I don't know what happened, but the guy, Jimmy, he couldn't even stand on his foot.
You can just see his knee just swell up instantly. It was like a balloon that,
Yeah, it was just like his knee was gone. It was out of this world. It was crazy to see, but Anthony looked really sharp out there. He looked really focused. He had
his jab was on point.
It was real snappy too. It was real quick, and it was right to the point. You could tell that he was very determined, very serious. He definitely showed up. It's too bad that it ended the way it did because Jimmy was on fire. He was pumped up. That dude was able to take Anthony down and show his grappling skills. And he wanted to continue fighting. It's just his knee just couldn't continue fighting. It's just an unfortunate event, and hopefully we'll see him back in action soon. Hopefully he didn't have some really bad damage to that knee, and he can jump right back in there again. But overall, it was a great fight. Anthony Smith moved up to 35-16, which is a remarkable career so far. And Jimmy,
they said he had over 50 fights, professional fights. So that shows.
That was his 51st fight in a combat sport. That's insane. Yeah, he's definitely a veteran in there, and he definitely looks like he's just getting better and better with each fight, which is pretty remarkable to say that. Yeah,
I think after the John Jones fight, he knew what he had to fix, and then he fixed it.
Yeah. So
it took him a little while because he was on that losing streak, but I think he's fully back now.
Yeah, for sure. Now the other thing is we're gonna tell you our predictions for the up and coming UFC fight cards. So stick around to get our predictions that we have for the fight coming up this weekend. But we're going to move on to the Uriah Hall, Chris Weidman fight. Wow.
And what a ending that was. Like 10 years earlier, it happened to Anderson Silva, and Chris Weidman did it to him, and then it happened to Chris Weidman 10 years later. So,
and it's only happened
in the exact same spot.
Wow.
I know, the two guys that were in those two fights. Now it happened to both of them. So
it was a horrific injury. One of the most brutal leg kicks, and his leg just snapped in half.
You could hear it just echo instantly,
after he threw the kick, he didn't even realize that he had broke his leg, and then tried to step on it, and it bent backwards, and that just freaked me out. It was gross.
I know, because then he screamed a little bit, and it was just kind of gross.
I just started.
Even I yelled. I was like, oh my! Like my mom came in the living room because I watched it in my living room. She's like, "What's going on?" And then I had to tell her, and it was just, it was gross.
It was gross. And I prayed for him right then. I'm like, Lord God, I pray that you can help him through this pain, help him through his surgery, which, by the way, his wife got on Instagram and updated a post that said that he he went through surgery and it was successful, and that by God's grace and mercy, and they thank the Lord that he's okay, he's fine, and they got a ton of support and people that are reaching out to him. So that really makes me happy that he's going to rebound from this. So I know he worked really hard.
Yeah, I'll keep
in that
praying.
training camp. I know he really, really worked hard, and he poured out all of his heart and soul into this fight to tragically have it end with the first kick thrown. Like, he didn't even get a chance to do anything in the first kick he threw. It broke his leg. So unfortunate.
Yeah.
Super, super horrible.
Like, Anthony Smith reacted to it and he started crying in the middle of his interview he did with the press, because he watched it and he started crying because he trained with Chris for this fight camp and Chris helped him.
And Uriah Hall, he had his hand raised, and then when they gave him the mic and they interviewed him there, very humble, very respectful. I really liked how eloquent he was and how he praised Chris and how it was an unfortunate injury. He's definitely matured and grown over the years. I really like Uriah Hall as a person, and I love him as a fighter.
I just hope that Chris doesn't retire. Like, I want to see him come back. I don't know in what capacity he will be able to come back, but I would like to see him come back.
Yeah. Well, Anderson Silva did it, and he came back, and so
but he was
36 years old. He could come back a year from now, and maybe he might go in there. We'll see.
But Anderson Silva wasn't the same after he got his leg, detached from his, bone. I don't know.
Yeah. No matter what, though, if Chris Weidman decides to hang it up, he needs to know that he was one of the best in the middleweight division. And he reigned for years. I mean,
he's the first person that gave Anderson Silva his, knockout loss. So
when it seemed like it was impossible for anybody to beat Anderson Silva, I mean, I think it was 16 fights in a row that he won, and it seemed impossible that anybody was going to hurt this guy. And here Chris Weidman goes and knocks him out. So he just did the impossible, and then he reigned. He wiped out the division for a time, and for 3 or 4 years there, he was unstoppable. He was a wrecking machine. And this was a long time ago. So he's come a long way. He's stayed relevant, and we wish him the best of luck. We definitely are going to keep praying for him, his family, his children, his team, and we would love to see him come back from this, and we definitely are rooting for you. And we definitely love Chris Weidman. We love Uriah Hall. They're great fighters, and I hope that we get to see both of them in the octagon once again.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. All right, the next fight. Wow. 3 championship fights in one night.
3 knockouts. 3 knockouts in a row.
Fights. Valentina Shevchenko versus Jessica Andrade. Wow.
I thought Valentina would win, but I didn't think she would win in that fashion. I didn't think she would dominate her from start to finish. I thought it would be a more competitive fight. I thought it would be one of Valentina's toughest fights that she's had besides Amanda Nunes. But it just wasn't. It really wasn't. And that was the only person who I thought may beat Valentina in that division. But besides her, I don't see anybody beating Valentina.
Yeah, I mean, she's the wrecking machine. I mean, here's the fact of the matter. In the last 10 years, nobody's been able to beat her except for Amanda Nunes. Outside of Amanda Nunes, she's beat everybody. I don't know if there's anybody left for her to fight. Like it's just every single person you put in front of her, she finds a way to win, and she looks incredible every single time she goes out there. She can, it just seems like she can take you down at will. She can ground and pound. She can knock you out. I mean, she's tough.
So
It's
to
incredible.
submit you, like, it seems to me like she's just getting better and better every fight.
Yeah.
It's not like she's just stalemating, and she's just growing as a fighter. And I think that's the problem, is they can't catch up with her because she's growing as a fighter so fast and so quickly. She reminds me of Anderson Silva in his prime, when like people couldn't figure out Anderson Silva because he was so dynamic. In every fight he seemed to get better.
Yeah. And nobody could figure out because he was so unorthodox, and he was like ahead of the game, so to speak. Like when he fought, it was like almost like watching like magic happen before your eyes. Like you're like, how does he move that way? How is he so precise with his striking? How can he just knock you out with one quick front kick to the face and boom, you're done? I mean, it's just insane how he fought. But yes, very good fight. Valentina showed up again. Just absolutely dominant performance, just an amazing, remarkable run. No, she's undefeated in her weight class. She's the champ in this division, and she owns the flyweight division. And honestly, I don't see any flyweight coming near her at all. I mean, she's just been a complete
I
dominant fighter in her weight
I
class.
know. I think she's more dominant than Amanda Nunes is. I'm not saying that she's better than Amanda Nunes, which she's not. But I just believe that she's more dominant than Amanda Nunes is. There's times where Amanda Nunes gets tired and she gets she gets
But not
controlled a
lately.
little bit.
But not
Not
lately.
like
Because look, she knocked out Chris Cyborg. Okay.
yeah, but
She put Valentino away twice. And Amanda Nunes, oh my goodness, her power, her knockout power. I mean, she's just a brawler, man. And she's like a pit bull. She just gets a hold of you and she just doesn't lock and locks on, and you're done. You're smothered. Yeah. So I don't
I
know.
think eventually those two will meet again. I don't know when that will happen, but I think those two will probably meet again. I was hoping that Zhang Wei Li would win and then she would move up against Valentina, because Zhang has been talking a little bit trash against Valentina, but now I don't think that fight will ever happen since she got knocked out by Rose.
Yeah. Yeah. True. All right, that moves on to the co-main event. The co-main event was for the women's strawweight championship belt, and we had Wei Li. Is it Chang or Zhang? Wei,
Zhang, I think.
yeah, Wei Li Zhang
Zhang?
versus Rose Namajunas. Namajunas. Rose. Doug Rose. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And what a fight.
Yeah.
Rose landed the most perfect head kick I've ever seen a woman land ever inside the octagon. And she did it under the arm. Like she just popped it like real quick.
Mhm.
She just kind of popped it in there, and it landed so perfect that she was just out. And then the hammer fist to knock it off. She was unconscious. I know she got up and she was upset and she was pissed off.
Yeah.
She said it was
That is
a
understandable
stoppage. She was
though.
out. She was out cold. She had no answer for the raining down hammer fist punches. She was just getting beaten and pummeled. And that head kick, she was out. She hit that mat and she
What
was done.
what really surprised me about Jong was how people were just booing her, like you could just see leading up to the fight, like people disliked her for some reason. I don't know what it was. Maybe because she was Chinese or something. But I thought you'd have at least a few US fans. But when she win the fight, everybody was just booing her. I'm like, maybe
Mm,
that got to her. I don't know.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't think we're gonna see the end of Wei Li. I think Mrs. Zhang is gonna come back with the bang. Zhang with the bang, because she's gonna come back with the vengeance. I
Yeah.
could see the belts changing hands again. I could see Wei Li getting it back and then Rose maybe fighting and getting it back. But also, Rose was the first woman to ever retain the UFC championship belt of any woman in the history of the UFC. What an amazing historical fight that really was. So cool
You
to see.
got to start talking about Rose like she's like Amanda Nunes and Valentina Shevchenko, because every fight she's in, she just seems to dominate people.
Mhm.
You got to start putting her up there against those other two.
Well, yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. She's got to run it back with some title defenses first, and then we'll talk about her being up there with Mrs. Nunes and Shevchenko. Let's see her fight again and see what happens with that championship fight, and if she becomes the undisputed women's strawweight champion with a win behind her belt, having it. So, yeah. Anyways, we'll move on to the main event. Oh my, Jorge Masvidal versus Kamaru Usman. What an amazing fight. Jorge Masvidal comes out to DMX. Kamaru Usman he just seems like he's getting better
Mm-hmm.
and better and better and better. And I don't think anybody right now has an answer to his grappling, to his jab, to his striking, his countering, his precision, his speed, his strength. I mean, right now he's on another level, and it seems like there's nobody else on his level. It's like I don't even know how to explain it, but he's completely dominating the welterweight division, completely dominating it. I mean,
I
now they're
know.
going to have to repeat fights because he's cleaned out the whole division. I think it's 14
It's
fights.
kind of like Amanda Nunes.
He's 14 and 0. Yeah, he's 14 and 0 right now. Okay. Yep, he's 14 and 0. So incredible, incredible, incredible. So, yeah, that was my son, by the way. And all right, so we're gonna move on. Kamaru Usman, you're a monster. You're the Nigerian nightmare. He's just a straight killer. He is, in my opinion, now the GOAT, the best welterweight in the history of UFC, and that's just what it is. So amazing, amazing fight card, absolutely amazing. UFC 261 was historical, was dynamic. It was one of the best cards I've ever seen in my life. And wow, I couldn't even sleep last night afterwards because we've never had two fights where back to back leg injuries. That was kind of bizarre and weird. We had three knockouts for three championship fights that ended in
You
three
never see
KOs.
that. You never
You
see
never
that.
see
But
that. It was just a crazy fight night.
and,
It was
and I think the fans had a lot of things to do with it, because they brought energy to the fights, because this is the first event where fans got to be in the UFC, watching the fights, and it was full capacity crowd. So I think they had a lot to do with it. and people brought their A game. So
Yeah. All right, moving on quick. Now it's time for the predictions. So this weekend we have Reyes versus Prazica, and
yeah,
Jerry Prazica versus Dominic Reyes. I'm gonna give it to Reyes on that. I think he's looking really good, especially his last fight. He looked really good. That was a great fight. I really see him winning that one. What do you think?
yeah, I do. I see him, bouncing back after he got knocked out by Jan Blachowicz. Uh, I think he's still viable in that division. I think he can still make a run back to the title. Um, I think he will be the next light heavyweight champion.
Yeah. All right. Well, now moving on to the next one is Cub Swanson versus Zikadiz.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with Cub Swanson. He looks really good. He was gone for a little while because he had an injury, but he's came back now since that injury, and he looks really
Yep.
good. He's on a tear. I would love to see him jump back into the top 10 featherweight and give it a run for his money while he's still around and he's
I
healthy.
just I just don't think Cup can make a title shot run. I think he can beat like the top 15 guys, but I don't believe he can make a title shot run considering how deep that 145 division is.
Right. Now, the next one's the light heavyweight, Ian Kutelaba versus Dustin Jacoby. I'm going with Dustin Jacoby on that. He's 14-5. Ian's 15-6. One no contest. I don't know. That's what I'm going
The
with.
problem with Dustin Jacoby is he gets tired a little bit because he throws with power and he throws with like everything and he never like takes his I don't know. Maybe if he works on his cardio, he'll be better. But I'm picking the other guy.
Okay. You're going with Kutelaba. All right, middleweight. We got Sean Strickland, 22-3. We got Christoph Jotko. He's 22-4. I'm going with Sean Strickland on this one.
I'm kind of torn because I want to go with Sean Strickland, but
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew it. I knew you were gonna go with Jotko. It seems like we always pick the opposite fights. That's okay. That's okay.
That's okay.
All right.
I mean,
Next up is bantamweight division. Mirab Develishvi versus Cody Stammen. I'm going with Cody Stammen. I think Cody's gonna go in there and bang. I think he's gonna be ready for this one, and he's gonna go in there and show us his skills. What do you think?
me too. I think he'll get this done and move
All
up the
right.
ring.
All right, last one, and then we're gonna wrap up the show. Poliana Botelho versus Luana, Carolina. I'm going with Luana, Carolina. 6-2.
First of all, I don't know
Wait.
who none of those are, but mm,
All right.
but I might go with you because I don't know who those are.
Okay. I do want to just say congratulations to Ronda Rousey, one of the greatest women MMA fighters to ever do it, UFC champion, having a baby. So praise the Lord,
She's
man.
been wanting it for like almost 2 years now, so
That's
I'm
awesome.
glad she's finally getting her wish.
That's awesome. All right, man. Well, I think that about wraps it up. Yeah, we got a good fight card coming up next week. We had an amazing fight card this week. Yeah, hats off to Ronda Rousey. And the only thing I want to say is, Jake Paul, stop running your mouth because somebody is going to close it. And you don't want to mess with DC because Daniel Cormier will destroy you. It's now you're being laughable. Dude, you're a boxer. Why don't you try boxing somebody in the top 10 of a boxing weight class? Stop talking to MMA fighters unless you're going to be in a cage. If you want to get into a cage in MMA, I think any woman in the flyweight division would kill you. But let's go with Amanda Nunes versus Jake Paul, okay?
Oh, that would be a terrible matchup for Jake Paul.
All right. All right. Sounds good. All right, man. Well, it's been great. I'm glad you all tuned in. Stay tuned next Sunday when we get back on here again. All right. Take care. God bless, man. Y'all have a nice week.
Yep.